Welcome, Crypto Sensei.
Thank you for
How
having
are
me, Bobby.
you?
How are you? I'm great. Thank you for having
I'm
me.
great. You're very welcome, and it's my pleasure to have you here. And I understand you're in Honolulu, Hawaii.
I am. It's a beautiful day outside, as you can see behind me. It's not a fake picture. That's I live in a town a tower here in Honolulu, so it's always beautiful weather outside. I'm just thankful to be back. I used to live here for a long time, so.
All right, all right. So, you asked me if we were gonna edit, record, and I told you we're gonna just straight shoot off the cuff, and I'm glad you're here. I bragged about you like if you've been my friend forever, because you're my friend in my head already, and it's really a pleasure to have you here. So first, I want to ask you, how long have you been in the crypto space?
Great question, Bobby. And like I said, appreciate you having me. And it's a real honor to be able to sit down and speak with your community. I've been in crypto a little over four years, 4 years and several months. I got into crypto. My father actually got me into crypto, and he asked me to look up XRP that long ago. And I watched my first YouTube video. And I immediately knew this was going to be something special, and I needed to find out as much information as I possibly could about digital assets and the future of digital assets. So that led me down a completely different path in life. I was in sales. I was selling real estate in the Bay Area in California. I was selling real estate with my mom, which is really great. She's been selling real estate a long time, and a big shout out to her. And my whole path changed. I didn't leave the house for like 3 months straight. I was just researching. Then that led into kind of COVID a year and some later. And so I was able to develop a great community with a lot of great people. And we built Cryptonaires, which is my crypto information service, where I kind of teach everybody what's happening globally with crypto. And just led me down a whole different path in life, Bobby. And I'm thankful for it. And we're going to really help educate some people that might not have as much knowledge as I do in the space about XRP and some other stuff.
Interesting, interesting. So before we deep dive into XRP, what crypto would you be holding or investing long term, short term if there was no XRP?
That's a great question,
Off
Bobby.
the
So
cuff.
when I look at investing in the long-term digital asset, because any digital asset you buy, you need to have a plan, right? Sometimes it's a short-term hold, sometimes it's a long-term hold, right? Just like stocks, people buy stocks and they hold them for decades even. So for me, what I look at is who is using the technology, who's adopting it, right? And I often look at stuff like HBAR and Casper, IOTA, Algorand. These are really great cryptocurrencies that are what is called ISO compliant. So ISO 20022, I don't know if you've heard of that messaging standard. The world is actually on all these different messaging standards with the banks. And so what the banks are doing is they're moving to something called ISO 20022. That is going to be the messaging standard for the globe. And by November of 2025, 80% or higher of the world's payments are going to be with ISO messaging. And the reason ISO messaging is important is you can add a lot more data to these messages, including crypto assets, to have instant settlement. So that is what I'm looking for when I'm investing in a long-term digital asset.
Okay. So you still didn't answer. If there was no XRP, what crypto,
80,
and you can only have one crypto, what would it be?
okay. One crypto, it would probably, well, XLM. So is XLM kind of in the same category? It's kind of the same or similar technology as XRP is. So if I could choose one, it would be probably XLM because of how many partnerships Stellar's been able to create, and having that bridge asset is very unique in this space. So it would probably be XLM.
Okay, great answer. Thank you. And I wanted to, since you said about the ISO, we have like in my community on TikTok, because I did YouTube first, but it was just like I was there by myself, and it's just so many people out there.
Yeah.
So I grew a huge community in like a year's time on TikTok, and I love it. But I want to get back to my YouTube so people can go back and reference the videos for information. However, one of our community members says that there's no crypto that is ISO 2022 certified, that they're all compliant, and that's a crock of shit. So
Okay.
I just want your insight to that comment.
Yeah. So it's not the token that's compliant, it's the company that is compliant behind the token, right? So Ripple has built banking software on top of the XRP ledger. And that banking software, for banks to be able to use something like that, they're going to need to have like AML, anti-money laundering, KYC, know your customer. There's going to be terrorism checks, there's sanctions checks. There's so many things that people don't realize that go into a bank's payment. And so it's really the company that is behind or that is building on top of the token that kind of makes that situation compliant. So those are really like your Hederas, your Stellars, your XDC, Zinfin is that company, and then there's Ripple, right? And so that is what. So the token itself, and the person is right to an extent. The token itself isn't actually compliant. It's the company, because of all the reporting that they do to make sure that they are compliant through that reporting, and that is how. A lot of YouTubers or people like myself will say, hey, this is ISO compliant through this company.
Okay. So you would agree that nothing is actually certified?
Certified is a strange word. I mean, I don't think there is a way to certify something, like technical terms. It doesn't change the fact that banks are still going to use that asset to make transfers, right? Whether it's certified or not. I think that's just a buzzword that they're using. There is no certification process to be ISO compliant. You get through ISO compliant by all the reporting that the company does, like their quarterlies or their yearly statements, and all of these things go into being compliant. So yeah, the person, if they're using the word certified, is correct.
Okay, thank you for that. So it's just so much. First of all, how long do we have? So I know how many. I want to get the good stuff in, and then
we have as long as you need, Bobby. I'm here for as long as any questions that you have. I want to get them addressed, and I want to really help your community help better understand some of these things. So whatever time that you need, I'm here for you.
Okay, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I'm just excited. So right now I'm trying to think, okay, we covered the ISO. Okay, let me ask you this before we move on, because we're going to deep dive into Ripple, because we get so much FUD. They think we're a cult. And the truth is, I love Ripple. It's one of my biggest bags, XRP. I have other cryptos, other investments. So that's not just my thing where I'm like, XRP is going to be 50,000 next week. I know it's not. I'm never going to say that. Yeah. But I know what I know what I hold.
I love that.
All right. You know what? I'm not even going to ask the ISO question. So Friday, I live streamed. I had a link to jump into Zoom with John Deaton. And It was released later to the public, but I got to share it with the community in real time, live, early in the morning. And it was great, because it was a perfect day, because Friday, the SEC did what they had to do with that stupid paperwork. And then I had people like, oh, you see, they put in an appeal. And I'm like, no, everybody became a lawyer right then and there.
That's how it is.
Everybody. Right? Yeah, everybody became these attorneys, and my cousin's a judge. This one is well, they don't know shit, because I was so glad the news worked out to what we knew was going to happen regardless. It's all smoke and mirrors.
It is. It is. And you can't, and I'm sure John's told you this in your community, is that you can't really appeal that XRP is not a security. That's not an option for the SEC, right? The SEC is currently trying to save face at the moment. They lost they would have lost everything else. And if they would have gotten the XRPs as security, they would have considered that a win. So all around, they lost. And so they're trying to save face. They're trying to do what they need to do. But let's be honest here. Judge Torres has never been overturned on appeal, right? Other than some other judges that have been overturned multiple times, she's never had that. So I think she did an incredible job. She followed the facts of the law, which the SEC asked her to do. And John's a really attorney here, and so I'm sure he explained that a lot better than I can. But the Ripple, the company, has to agree to a speedy trial for an appeal too, and I don't think they're going to be in a position to want to do that, right? So, I don't know exactly what John said, but I'm really looking forward to watching that. But it's all smoke and mirrors at this point. And people need to stop thinking short term, right? XRP is something that you're going to want to hold for decades, and you're going to be able to earn yield from your XRP through AMMs that should come in September or October, and you're going to be able to provide liquidity and get a return on that liquidity. And so that's why you're seeing all of these, the Binances and the Bitstamps saying, hey, we're going to offer you staking for 2%. What they're going to do is they're going to take all of that XRP and they're going to put it in liquidity pools and AMMs to make a higher yield, and then they're going to pay the percentage to XRP holders for this quote unquote staking, right? We know XRP is a consensus model; it's not proof of stake, so there really is no technical staking. But I think that's the plan for some of these exchanges, and trying to kind of drum up some more trading and more business. So yeah, I think that a lot of people want to see XRP fail, and we're all kind of, some of us have maxis, some of us are Ethereum, some of us are Bitcoin, some of us are XRP. But at the end of the day, I think this is a growing, incredible community, and crypto is going to be used globally for hundreds of different things. And when we start to understand how important digital assets are to the financial future of the world, that's really when you can see, like, because I mean, if you are a business and you're being charged 1, 2, 3, even as high as 5% on any purchase that happens in your store, and if you're doing billions of dollars a month in business, or millions of dollars a month in business, and you have to pay that 1 to 5%, you're losing an awful lot of money to Visa, MasterCard, and Amex. But with digital assets, you can move that same value for less than a penny, and that is really what the new future is. And that's what all of these companies, all of these banks, no matter what they tell you in the public, they are adopting this technology at a neck-breaking speed.
I know that, and I thank you for sharing that, because other people just they want you to tell them what to do. They don't want to do the footwork. One thing that stood out in your interview with Paul was when you said, there's no way anyone can possibly know more because I put so many hours in. Honestly, I feel like you're the first person like myself. I could afford to put 12 hours of research, 16 hours a day. I'm the detective. They call me the detective of crypto. Like, I'm digging. Some people are just reading articles and reciting them without even fact checking. And even if you fact check once, you got to keep fact checking. Like, oh shit, that's wrong. Yep. Debunk it, right?
You got it, Bob.
So one of our community members, very faithful, active community member here, Black Sheep, he said, your thoughts on people saying market cap dictates the price on XRP, and there's so many XRPs. And I also, before you answer that, I shared the information. I fact checked what you said about 1 billion of them being off of circulation forever. The BNY Mellon. So if you can answer that question for Black Sheep and the rest of the community, I'd appreciate it.
So they're not wrong, right? XRP market cap does dictate price for the token, but there's a lot of things to consider, right? Circulating supply is something that you need to consider in that math equation, right? So right now, a lot of people think the circulating supply of XRP is like 50 billion or something ridiculous. And what they do is they go on CoinMarketCap, and whatever that says, that's law, right? That's fact, and it's not really accurate, right? Because you have Ripple, the company, who has 45 billion, give or take some change, in escrow. Ripple also bought back $8.4 billion worth of XRP after the lawsuit happened, right? So they probably hold still another 15 billion for on-demand liquidity, and that's what they were using to provide to some of their partners, right? So Ripple really does control anywhere from like 58 to 60% of the supply. Then you have all of us, right? All of the holders. Then the former head of BNY Mellon, he was one of the heads. He died, right? And he had 1 billion XRP, and his keys were lost. I haven't seen anything in the news saying that they have found the keys for that wallet, but so that's 1% of the supply, right? So a lot of people are like, you can reuse XRP every 3 to 5 seconds, and that is 100% accurate. You can do that. But when you're talking about moving trillions of dollars a day, there's only so many seconds in a day. I think it's like, is it like 86,000 seconds? I did the math on this the other day, and I can't remember the exact amount. But
yeah, seconds.
You start to break it down, right? You start to break it down, and you come to start understanding how this price could start raising to 10, to 50, to 100, right? Because right now banks can custody crypto assets, but they can't hold crypto assets on their balance sheets yet, right? That's the
I know about that.
Basel framework. Yeah. So that we're supposed to be getting some updates on Basel framework in 2025. That's when stuff's supposed to start going into law, where banks are going to be able to hold 1 or 2% of crypto assets, probably backed by a certain amount of stable money like dollars, treasury bills, etc. So banks are there to make money, guys, and they see how much when Coinbase IPO'd and they saw how much money was going into that. Banks understood they really want to get into this, right? And banks are there to make money, guys. And so banks are going to want to hold some of these assets. Now, banks are never going to hold meme coins. Banks are never going to hold certain assets. They're going to have to kind of go through. I would say they're going to have to go through a certain system where banks are going to have to say, hey, we've done X, Y, and Z checks on this asset. It kind of checks all the boxes. I only think that like your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, your XRPs, your XLMs, like your really tier 1 assets, banks are going to be able to hold. They're also going to be able to hold certain stable coins and things like that. And people need to understand when this move happens to digital, all of the value the bank's holding then gets tokenized as well, right? Because now we're on a tokenized systems where dollars, stocks, bonds, all of that stuff is going to be tokenized. So when that happens, where does that value live, right? And so certain banks are going to use like a private ledger on the XRP, and they're going to digitize value, and they're going to hold that on the back end of those banks. So certain assets are going to perform a lot better over the next, 3 to 5 years. But that's really the playbook of what banks are going to be doing and how they're going to be moving into this.
Thank you for that. All right.
Sure.
So another question, and this is a question I put in the Zoom with John Deaton, and for link to, if anyone could have answered it. They did say they would respond through emails because there were so many people on the Zoom. I think there was like 500 people with the link. The question that I have, the community has, Black Sheep asked it. If you can, you'll see it later. If you don't see it now, it says, people say, we always get people smartasses in the live saying, just because it says Ripple doesn't mean it's XRP. So I'm like, so you're telling me they spent all this money to like rug pull XRP and they're going to put a new coin out? Like, where are we going? What would be your response to that?
So I get this in my YouTube comments as well. What people don't understand is when a bank or a central bank is considering using an asset, that asset has to go through years of sandbox testing, right? It's not like they just approve an asset and then it goes live and banks are like, yeah, I'm going to use this. This is great. It's something, they have to be sandbox tested. They have to go through all of these different, any bank or central bank is going to have all of these, technical advisors, technical people that are going to test the technology, right? It's not just like, hey, the new thing's here, we're going to use it. And so Ripple has had an advantage of 10 years on, in the digital asset space, making partnerships. And I'm one of the few people that I think the lawsuit with Ripple actually helped Ripple a huge ton, because instead of Ripple focusing on the United States, they went out and made partnerships all over the world. They're in Australia, they're in Africa. They even were doing some testing with the Russian central bank back in 2019. Any country that kind of comes to mind, you got the Middle East. You have, most of, I think there's 13 countries in Africa that can use XRP and Ripple's technology. You have Hong Kong, they have the EHKD pilot. When you're looking in like the African state and some of the Middle East, you have something called Buna, which is an XRP enabled platform that a lot of those central banks and banks are hooked up to. You have Brazil, you have Mexico, Canada. I mean, there really is no stopping to what Ripple's been able to do.
Funny when you said the answer that they have to go through all these tests because they're not just going to put something with a bank. My husband's in the background. He goes, I told you, because every time he listens to my TikToks and he laughs, he's like, why are they always saying just because they say Ripple? And then I brought it up the other day. I said, you think they were going to spend $200 and something million, 3 years slowing down the American, purchases and the whole market to rug pull everybody? Like, we're talking about a real company. This ain't Richard Hart.
Yeah.
Like, And you answered perfectly. And just because you said it and my husband thought it, and people will still find something to debunk what Ripple and XRP is. I think personally, the people that hate on XRP, they either bought it at $3 and lost their shirts in the last bull run, or they just don't understand the technology because it's so advanced next to Bitcoin.
And I don't own any Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's a great store of value for the people that believe in it. And I just when you're spending $30,000 on one token, even if Bitcoin goes to what 500K or something really really high with these spot ETFs that are coming maybe in 2024, Bitcoin's gonna do some numbers, right? It's gonna be pretty nice, but I'm not here for, 15 or 20x. I'm really here for, some life-changing money, right? Then that's really where I think XRP and XLM and some of these other tokens will come into play and will reach high values. Everyone said Bitcoin would never get to $100 or $1,000 or 30,000 or 60, right? So why can't something like XRP do something similar? And so you're always going to get people who FUD, and you're right. It's either a matter of they bought at the top and went down. But if they bought at the top way back then, they had many years to kind of catch up on why the technology is important. And, it really does go to people don't spending enough time actually understanding what's about to take place, right? When Ripple's working with 30 central banks around the globe, plus, 30 plus central banks, and they've had meetings with the IMF, the World Bank, the BIS, you need to take that and say, why isn't any other crypto project meeting with these people, right? And, Ripple is a blockchain infrastructure company. And I think people need to separate XRP, the token, from Ripple, the company, because they're two different things. Long time ago, they were one and the same. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ripple and XRP was not centralized, when Brad and Chris, sold these tokens way back when, because it really was centralized. Ripple controlled a lot of the validators, and they controlled the XRP ledger. And since then, they've created the foundation, and it's really out of their hands now. And if Ripple didn't believe in the XRP token, why would they spend billions of dollars buying it back off the open market, right? It just doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do that from a business perspective unless you thought that this technology was going to be used on a massive, massive scale. And people can't, I don't know what it is, but they either don't do enough research or they can't accept what's going to happen. And a lot of people think, the government's never going to allow us to get rich or this and that. Crypto Lulu did a great video on actually how many people own more, than like 50,000 or 100,000 XRP, right? And the numbers are in a couple hundred thousand at this point. So
that's it.
It's really not a lot of people that own XRP own between like 1,000 and 10,000 XRP. It really, when you get to the higher numbers, it's a lot less people. So, when you're talking about 7.5 billion people and only a couple 100,000 maybe getting ahead with this, the government doesn't care, guys. The government, whatever country you're in, does not care about your XRP holdings. They care about offering better services and better being able to visually see their money better, right? When you're a central bank and you're able to create money, mint money, and burn money, it's a lot easier for that central bank to do monetary policy, right? Whether it's easing or it's quantitative tightening, bringing money out of the system, they can do that a lot better. Not only can they do that a lot better, but now they have a record of every transaction. So when it comes to tax time, they're able to not only know exactly what you owe, but they have a little bit more control of what they can do. And we can get into that conversation about programmable money, because a lot of people are like, central bank money won't be programmed. Yes, it will. 100% it will. But it's a knowledge thing. It's not spending enough time and researching. Like you said, you and me, we've had 12 hours, 14 hours, 16-hour days researching. People don't have that much free time. And a lot of people, have jobs, they have families, they have hobbies, and they don't have the time that we do. And so what I say to those people is, find a community like Bobby's, find a community like mine where you can fit in, you can catch up on everything that you need to know within a couple hours time a week, and you can stay ahead of 99.9% of the planet on some of these incredible assets. Like, this is the time. There's no other time in life that you're going to have the opportunity to create stupid amount of wealth for not a lot of money. right? It's the only time that you're going to have, because switching from a fiat financial system to a digital tokenized financial system is going to happen once in your life. Doesn't matter if you're 15 or you're 40 or whatever it is, whatever your age is, you're only going to get one shot at this. And if you waste it,
Right.
you're going to be upset.
They're gonna wait till XRP's at $100 and then they're gonna FOMO in. But that's besides the point. I have a few comments here and questions. First question, quick answer. 30 plus central banks are ready?
Yep. James Wallace, who is the head of CBDC development for Ripple, has given that number. And I played that clip several times on my YouTube channel. That's coming directly from the head of CBDC innovation at Ripple.
Got you. Thank you for that. Okay, Optimistic Prime is here and she wants to ask, when XRP goes up, does the cost of transactions increase? And will it always take 10 XRP to have an account? I don't even know where this is coming from. Will this stay, but it's okay. Will it stay that way, or as it goes up, the amount will decrease?
So certain wallet providers require a certain amount of XRP to be put into that account. I think with Exum it's like 25, and maybe with Ledger it's 10. So I do think,
I heard
depending
Lobster, it's like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, so I think that is a decision by those providers, right? I think creating a new wallet address, they want to at least make sure that person's going to use that wallet. So I don't think it's something from like the development team at XRP and the foundation saying that you have to have this certain amount. I think it's more of a business decision by some of these companies to decide what they want to do when they create a new XRP wallet.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that question, Optimistic Prime. Okay, so Rick's Mix is someone who I know from YouTube, and I'm glad to see him here because I haven't been on YouTube. He said, let's talk about how cashless kicks in. The only thing a person will have at value will be crypto and gold. Your boy Michael Burry did it again, shorted the market. What is to come?
What does it come? The next things. So I know Chamba. Michael Burry spent 1.6 billion shorting the market, and he was the guy that predicted the mortgage crisis back in 2008. And I think he's right. I think the stock market is going to start coming down. A lot of people think we're in some kind of bull market. What happened with the stock market is you had all the AI wave, right? That's really what kind of helped push the market back up. But guys, inflation's still sticky in the U.S. A CPE, you're looking at like 3.2 to 4%, depending on what you're looking at, different inflation targets. And so it's sticky right now. And so the Fed's going to keep rates higher for banks. They're probably going to raise into 2024 until something breaks. And that's when you see a dramatic crash of the stock market, right? If you go back, 6 decades, anytime the Fed pivots, there's usually a 30 to 40% stock market crash. And this is something very easy. You can look up on Google. Just Google, what happens when the Fed pivots the stock market. You can go to images. You'll see charts. I think out of like 6 or 7 times the Fed has pivoted in the last several decades, only one time the stock market went down maybe 10% or 15%. The rest were 30 to 48 or something like that. So I think that's what Michael is thinking that's going to happen here over the next several months. You have some banks saying that, we're going to go into risk. Right now with economists, it's 60-40. 60% say that we're still going to be heading for a recession. 40% say that we're going to be in for like a soft landing. So I think Michael is betting against the market, and he knows the past. He's a very smart trader, and we'll see if he's correct. I think that he is on the correct path there.
Thank you for that. Will XRP have a buyback? No,
it won't. So a lot of people think the U.S. government's going to buy back your XRP, guys. That's not going to happen. It's so there has been some information leaked that Swan Capitalists on Twitter and YouTube, they met with somebody, Linda P. Johnson, I think her name was, or Linda P. something. She had a friend that worked for the Bank of Australia, and he heard from her that there was already a conversation by central banks to do a set price for XRP. I think that is much more likely than having a country wanting to buy back XRP. It's not gonna happen. If it randomly does happen and we all win the lottery like that, great. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's like 99 to 1% chance.
Thank you for that. And another question. The transaction fees right now, it's fractions of pennies. Will that always be that way? Or if XRP was 1 million, would that be $1 to $10? Will that
Great question.
percentage stay the same?
Yeah, that's a great question. It doesn't matter what the price of XRP is. You're always going to still find low payments. I mean, because it's Ripple, the company that's doing it, right? Through their software, RippleNet or on-demand liquidity, whatever it is. So it's always going, the price of XRP shouldn't affect how much it costs to send a payment.
Okay, I hope he answered your question. So my girl, she is
Yes.
and I'm going to put you in the loop with everyone. My girl, Crypto Chick, she is a TikToker, a crypto investor. She does what I do. She's more like you're sitting in the principal's office. Like she has fun, but cut the, just let's go. Get your portfolio, make sure you get a cold wallet. We're here for the newbies. When we get into technical, we're learning as we go along. We never claim to know everything, but we're there for the newbies. That's what our TikToks are for, right? She's here. She has a question. Her question is, will we be able to take loans against XRP?
100%. So we're going to get to a point where banks are going to not only want to custody crypto, but they're going to want to hold crypto assets on their balance sheets, like we talked about before. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to your bank, and this is down the line as if XRP is, let's say $1,000, and you have hundreds of millions or whatever. I mean, I don't know how much XRP you have. I just kind of do it off how much I have. So in that case where I had $350, $400 million, I would go down to the bank and saying, hey, here's $10 million worth of XRP. I want to take out a $5 million loan on that XRP. And as long as XRP doesn't crash in price, halfway, you're not going to lose that. So you go out and you take that loan and you go buy an office building, or you go buy farmland, or whatever it is that is going to bring revenue in. You get that revenue, you go out and pay off your loan, and you get your XRP back. That's exactly the way that I'm going to be using my XRP in the future. I have a small percentage of XRP that I'll probably sell just to get really kind of cash positive. And the rest of it, I will use in a technique like that to bring in, more money for myself. And also, you're going to be able to provide your XRP in liquidity pools with AMMs, and you're going to be able to earn a yield on that. We don't exactly know what that yield will look like, but I would imagine it's going to be anywhere from like 2 to 5%, something in that realm. And you're going to be able to kind of build wealth and not have to sell your XRP. The goal here, guys, is not to sell the XRP. The goal here is to have XRP work for you. And there's going to be a lot of ways to do that. And we talk a little bit about that on my YouTube channel.
Thank you. Okay, so that was great information. So let's see. So exciting to be at the start of the year. We're all going to be pioneers in this. I mean, whoever was here for the Bitcoin beginning, we got to just say, hey, thank you, Bitcoin, for opening up the doors and being the testnet for XRP. But time got to move on. We need some utility and some real type of crypto here. Here we go again. When do you see the price of XRP actually start moving in value?
So that's a great question. And it's a fair question, right? Because some of us have been waiting for years, some of us have been waiting longer, and some of us are just now getting in. So what I'm looking at what happens when AMMs come into place, right? Because that'll be like the first time where you can actually start locking away your liquidity and your XRP. And that's going to, take XRP out of circulating supply. I'm looking at November. So November is a month that Swift, JP Morgan, and several other countries around the world, there's like 7 or 8 that were listed in this clip that I played last week for my community, that are going live with ISO in November of this year, in 2023. So what does that do for us? That remains unsure. But now you have the conglomerate of Swift now being able to use something like XRP to move value at the speed of light. So the question is, the real question we should be asking is, how long can banks hold on? How long is it before the first bank starts to really use this technology in a massive way. And we're not talking about these smaller banks, right? Ripple's done 20 million transactions. They've moved $30 billion. But right now, guys, there's only $1 billion going through ODL per day. I mean, excuse me, per month. Sorry, not per day, per month. And it's really not a lot of money. So when you have Swift telling the banks that they're working with, and JP Morgan telling the banks that they're working with to not wait until 2025 and to move to ISO sooner, you really need to take eye of that and wonder what might happen in November. So when you get one or two big banks starting to use something like XRP to move value, and now they don't have to really work with, you know, Visa and MasterCard and Amex and their corresponding banking system, right? They can actually start moving this value for a lot cheaper, not only having better visibility of where money is, now you can actually get rid of pre-funded accounts. Now, before we get into pre-funded accounts, let's kind of go back here. So November's a big year, big month this year. Also, I'm paying attention to G20 framework and financial stability board framework. We're going to get an update September 10th or 11th on what that looks like. And so we're hoping that G20 regulation will come in 2024. By 2025, we should be all ready to go. You're seeing a lot of these central banks being tested in some of these bigger countries like the UK. They're talking about 2025. So I'm not getting too excited, by the end of the year, but something could start happening. It just depends how long banks are going to wait, right? Because when you get one or two starting to use it, now it puts every other bank at a disadvantage, right? Because now they're using digital assets to move money instantly. What does that do to the other banks? Well, it puts pressure on them to offer better services to their customers. So you really kind of get into this virtuous cycle where once one or two banks start using it, then more banks start using it, then more adoption happens, and then more XRP is needed, and then more XRP is bought off the open market. And there's only, we don't have the exact numbers, how much XRP is on exchanges, but let's just say it's like 15 billion, right? Or 20 billion, what happens when that supply starts getting bought up off the secondary market, right? Because Ripple cannot sell XRP to institutions and banks inside the United States. They can still do it to outside banks, but what is that cycle? When does that cycle start, and how fast does it start kind of spinning, and how often does it start getting used, right? So that's really what I'm looking for. But 2025 should be a pivotal year, but I do think a lot of things could happen before then.
Awesome. So that was a whole lot. And I'm looking at the TikTok while you're talking. We're getting a lot of feedback here. I actually can't remember the last time I had 18 people on YouTube on a live. So that's a big number on YouTube when you're starting.
Thank you.
You could stay on YouTube forever, and you're lucky if you got 100 people in your live. So I appreciate you being here. There's a bunch of questions, but I got a question because you said something and a little light bulb went off in my head when you were just speaking. You said, so Swift, or the banks are going to tell Swift to use something that's faster, more cost efficient. So are you saying, am I understanding that Swift is going to use XRP possibly and stay Swift? Or
100%, guys. So Swift did some testing in March 9th. They put out a press release that they've worked with 12 banks on, crypto and digital payments and CBDCs. Now, if you research those 12 banks, 11 of those banks are connected to Ripple. Interesting, right? So there's a guy named Graham. Oh God, I can't remember his name, but he used to work for Swift for many years, and he's gone on to say that he 100% believes you're going to see XRP over the Swift network. And when you look at like that research that I just told you about, go look it up yourself. Always take what somebody says to research yourself. You don't want to take somebody's face value, even it doesn't matter how much information that they know. It's always good to kind of verify that information yourself. So if you go to March 9th and the Swift announcement, you will see a list of banks, and then you start Googling those banks. And 11 out of 12. I should have done a little bit more research on the 12, so I could have been like 12 out of 12, but 11 out of 12 are Ripple partners. So it leads me to believe that Swift has in fact tested something like XRP. Now, when you're talking about Swift, right? Swift is a conglomerate of banks. There's 11,500 banks that are all hooked up to Swift. It's the correspondent banking system that we've known for 4 decades, 5 decades, right? It's still slow. Swift GPI is their new service. It's just a messaging service. Swift does not have the ability for instant settlement. Does not, unless they use something like XRP and XLM through APIs, which they've tested and been tested. So 100%, I'll go on record, Swift will 100% use XRP. 100%, not for every transaction, but I do think you're going to see a large amount of transactions using XRP. And there's still there's XLM, there's HBAR, there's Algorand, there's all these other assets also that are ISO compliant, right? I wouldn't say Cardano's at the top of the list, because when it comes to payments, you're really looking for the cheapest, fastest, most efficient path, right? And Ethereum's been tested too, and some other stuff has been tested. So, it will never be Bitcoin. I get this a lot. A lot of people think that Bitcoin is going to be used for payments. Unfortunately, guys, it's too expensive. You have a lot of micro transactions, which are less than $1, 50 cents, 25 cents. You get these small payments for any number of things. Now, if you're using Bitcoin, and let's say you're using Strike, right? That's still $1 a payment, right? Would you use something that's less than a penny a payment that's instant, or would you use something that's $1 every transaction and could take some time, right? So, we just need to kind of cut that off now, because I get a lot of those comments. It's never going to be Bitcoin. You can't have AML, you can't have KYC, you can't have anything that the actual banks need for those payments, right? Any transaction through something like RippleNet has all of this AML, KYC, anti-money laundering, counterterrorism checks, and has sanction screenings. And a lot of people don't even think about that. But if you're a bank and you send value to another bank that gives money to terrorism and that's under sanctions, not only is that could be millions or even more millions of dollars in fines, but it could be jail time for whoever approved that payment. So 100%, you're going to see some XRP, you're going to see XLM, and you're probably going to see other handful of assets moving across the Swift system, because banks are going to want instant settlement. And unless Swift coin is created overnight and is tested, you're really not going to see that, right? Swift is really not the blockchain infrastructure company. They're the conglomerate of banks, and they need the outside service.
Got you. Awesome. You got all the answers. Take a sip, take a breath, relax, breathe. I got more questions for you, bro.
All right, let's do it.
So,
you want me to clarify?
Yeah, you got it, right?
I got you, Bobby. Why don't you just ask the question, though? I like it when you ask the question.
I'm going to ask the question because of TikTok. The question is, can you clarify the correlation between XRP and XLM?
So the 3 creators of the XRP ledger are Arthur Brito, which you don't really see too much of. He's kind of more behind the scenes. Jed McCaleb, who is the founder of Stellar, and you have David Schwartz. Those are the 3 who created the XRP ledger. They got help from somebody called Ryan Fugger, who had the idea of a system like this many, many years ago. I think it was like 2001 or 2004, something like that. There was some disagreements on the way that Ripple, the company, was going back in 2004, and Jed McCaleb left Ripple with a sizable, settlement package. I think he got like 4 or 5 billion XRP, and so he went and created Stellar. And then they burned, half the tokens. And I think Stellar has an inflationary supply, but I'm not as read up on Stellar as I am Ripple and XRP, because there's just so much information to go through daily, and it's just there's a lot to learn from that side. So they're same technology, right? The XRP ledger open source. So Jed McCaleb kind of created Stellar in that image. And there's so many different things. Hold on one second, my dog's hitting the door. Give me one second. Sorry, Bobby.
No, it's okay. So he's taking a break. You got to check on his dog, but you know how we are. We're dog lovers. We love dogs too, right?
I'm back.
That was fast.
We have dogs too. Yeah, she was just hitting the door. She usually is. She doesn't leave my side, but sometimes she has to pee and things like that. So I just let her out. But XLM is an incredible asset. They've been doing a lot of work with USDC Circle, and I don't. This is just my personal opinion now. I don't see that Stellar has built out as many use cases for the XLM token as Ripple has. But if you pull up the charts for XRP and you pull up the charts for XLM, they kind of move together, which is really, really weird. And so I do think Stellar, Stellar is my third crypto choice out of my top 5. And so I think Stellar is going to have an incredible, couple decades of growth. Jed McCaleb's working on a lot of like space stuff. He has a company called Vast, and I think there's a lot of
yesterday.
Yeah. So I think XLM and Stellar is a great choice, but I'm more bullish long term on XRP because of the central bank connections, because Ripple is now on the BIS task force. If nobody knows what the BIS is, they're the central bank of central banks. They set policy for other central banks, and they do all of this testing. So you've seen kind of like Project Helveta and Jura and Dunbar, and there's all these projects that are launched all over the world to test these digital assets to find out which are the best to use for international cross-border payments. So XLM is an incredible opportunity, and I think it shouldn't be kind of looked at as like a smaller brother of XRP or something like that. But I just don't think there's as many use cases built out quite yet for Stellar that they're working on.
Thank you. What do you think about XCC? Since we're on the X's.
So I've been in XCC since 2019. I've made a lot of money with XCC in the last bull run when it went up to, I think, like 31 cents. I've owned XCC since then. So I think XCC is an incredible asset. They're more in the TradeFi space. They just had a huge partnership announcement with the country of Australia, and they're going to be doing some stuff with that country. And I think Zinfin is an incredible ecosystem that's being built out. As XCC is going to be used on a massive scale in the TradeFi space. When you're talking about shipping and things like that, a lot of people don't quite understand how many people and different entities are involved with shipping just any container. You have like the insurance company, you have the banks, you have the client who's shipping stuff, you have the shipper, you have the port people, you have the ship people. I mean, there's just so many different parties that are involved.
Logistics.
Logistics. Yeah. And so right now, basically the policy is when the goods get on the dock, wherever they're supposed to go, you pay for those goods before they come off the dock. And right now, it takes 3 to 5 days to send a payment with the old banking system on a good day. And if you just wait 3 extra days and you send one shipment a month, and you have to wait 3 days every month for the entire year, you're losing a full month out of the year that you could be selling more goods or doing more things with that value, right? Because that turns in an extra 36 days out of the year that you have to wait. And the goods are just sitting there, the money's not moving. And it's really it slows down the entire system, right? Because that stuff can't be moved off that pier until the money clears. So you really have a situation where now you can use something like XTC. You can have that instant settlement, and now you can move those goods off instantly. So any business that even just does one container a month is going to have 10 to 15% more business per year just by us moving to an instant system. So I think XCC has a huge role to play, and anybody that doesn't take XCC seriously needs to. XCC is my second choice on my top 5. So it's XRP, it's XDC, then it's XLM.
Okay, we have another gentleman in the group. I don't know where he is. He's always here. I don't know where the hell Rico is right now. I would love for you to meet him, but he's not here yet. But Rico is the XDC. He's the Michael Saylor for XDC.
I love that.
He's a maxi to the. Go ahead.
He's a maxi? No, I was going to say. If maxi. Yeah. So a lot of us are, right? We have our favorites, and we want to learn everything about those favorites. And there's nothing wrong with being a maxi on anything, right? As long as you can. Right. As long as you can, look outside of an asset, right, where you're not just stuck on one. It's always good to have, a couple different, things that you're bullish on, right? And you don't just want to just put all of your money into one asset. Not saying that's a bad thing, but there's just so many things that are going to do so much over the next several years. And you really want to kind of spread out your portfolio just for risk's sake. I'm not a financial advisor, but that's the information that I would give to a family member, So, right. If you own 10 million XDC, Yeah, 10 million XTC is kind of the holy grail, because then you can run a validator node on this infant network, and that is probably going to be one of the best nodes to hold. I was giving this information to my community when XTC was below a penny, and so people were able to buy 10 million XTC for a lot less than what it is now. I think XTC is like 6 or 7 cents, so that would be like 600 or 700 grand. But those nodes are going to pay you for a long time, and I think that'll give you passive income for a long time. I'm a very big believer in nodes and supporting infrastructure on blockchains. I run a lot of different nodes personally for passive income.
That is awesome. So one of my beautiful community members, she runs her own channel. She's more into just the whole way money works, right? That's what she does. Brooke, she's the XDC queen. So I just wanted to tell her and put her up there so you can see her, because I'm going to link you up with everyone, and I'm hoping to get you into the community a little more active with us when you have free time, because we always have stuff going on and lots of questions every day. And I'm basically, we're trying to make each other fun proof.
I feel you. I would love that. Yeah, please send me a link. I'd love to spend some time and answer any more questions that people have. This has been a lot of fun. Do we have any more questions that you want to get through?
Any more questions?
Is there any more?
Oh, price prediction for what? Next bull run. Give us your realistic prediction.
So
Just
retail.
for fun.
Yeah, well, retail isn't meant to push these assets, guys, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. When we're talking about some of these assets, right? The whole world is going to be tokenized, and a lot of people don't understand this, right? Stocks are anywhere from like 10 to 30 trillion, give or take. Bonds are $130 trillion market. Derivatives are a 600 trillion to 1 quadrillion market. Real estate is anywhere from 350 to 500 trillion dollars globally. This is the value that is going to be tokenized and brought onto certain blockchains. Now, that is when the value of those blockchains increase in size. So a lot of people don't understand that all of these things are going to have a digital twin that live on certain blockchains. Okay. And when you look at just the derivatives market, and they're moving $2 trillion, $3 trillion a day, what blockchain do you think that value is going to start moving on, right? And that is really where the price is going to come from. It's not going to come from me and you putting thousands of dollars into certain assets, right? Sure, we pump them up some, but it really, this is not the market for retail investors. It's when institutions come in and then they start using this on a massive scale, right? You look at, do you know what the DTCC is? The Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. Have you heard that?
That's something I don't know, and I'm going to be honest and admit it. Break it down for us.
So there's something called Project Ion, and Project Ion was the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. That's what they've been working on for the last 6 years. And that is basically moving the DTCC's infrastructure, and they clear securities and futures and bonds and different things like that. They clear securities through that system. So if you're selling, stocks or bonds or whatever it is, and you're getting paid out, usually it goes through the DTCC. And so that is one of the United States' infrastructure, financial market utilities. So you can look up something called FMUs, financial market utilities, and you're going to see the DTCC there. You're also going to have the ICE, which is the parent company of NASDAQ. You're also going to have CLS and some other entities that are vital to the infrastructure, financial infrastructure of the United States. And I think that Ripple, the company, might be added to that list because of how important XRP is to the entire world. So the DTCC processed in 2022, they processed $2.5 quadrillion. Okay. Now that's about 6 to 7 trillion a day. You also have the FX market is 6 to 7 trillion a day. Equities, it's about a $2 to $4 trillion market. There's just all of this value that lives outside of this digital system that is going to be coming on to this digital system, right? Because that's the new way of settling value, moving value, right? And so where does this value live, and where does it get transacted through? that is really the high point of where the value, I think, of XRP or some of these other assets will come from. So if XRP is just pushed up by retail investors, you're probably only going to see $3 to $10, $3, $5, $10 for XRP. I mean, because you look at the XRP, we're at 50 cents right now. I haven't looked at how much the market cap is, but let's just use an average of 30 billion, right? Even if we got to Bitcoin's level of $500 billion, you're still looking at, $8 or $10, right, for XRP. So the value is not going to come from us. It's going to come from the institutions. And when value starts moving over that system and whatever the circulating supply is. My personal thought here is when regulation comes in and banks are able to actually hold, crypto, something like XRP and Bitcoin on their balance sheets, that is really when you can start seeing a crazy cycle, right? Because just the SWIFT system alone is what, 11,500 banks. Well, what if half of those banks wanted, 1 million XRP or 500,000 XRP? How much where does that XRP come from? Does it come from the escrow?
Right.
Because there's only 1 billion that's released every month. So, and there's also there's 1,700 NDAs that are connected with the escrow too, which we don't really know what those are about, right? So, right. I don't think people realize that 100 billion XRP is it's not a lot, because you also have projects and ecosystems that are being built out on the XRP ledger that are also going to require XRP, right? We only just think of the Ripple use case as one of the use cases, but guys, there's so many others, right? So when you start having banks wanting to own the asset, and you start having banks offering the asset, like, hey, you just got paid. Do you want to put 10% of your paycheck into Bitcoin or Ethereum, XRP, whatever it is? They're going to offer you crypto because they custody your money right now. They take your money and they go out and they get new loans for your money, and they go out and spend it on office buildings and things like that where they think they can get a return. They're going to want to do that with your crypto assets. So, once that starts taking place, Bobby, I think it's going to get really crazy around here. And that's really where the value is going to come from. It's not going to come from me and you. And a lot of people can't see that and they can't believe that, but there's only so much money in the world, guys, and it's not all going to go into one asset. And it really is when you start bringing that digital twin and that value lives on said blockchain. That's when, right? Because if you brought $50 trillion in derivatives and that money moves over the XRP ledger, what does that do for the XRP price, right? What does 50 trillion do? So that is really where the value in the market cap is going to come from. So at the end of the day, I hope that sheds some light on where I think the value is going to come from, and I hope that helps people.
Thank you. I agree with everything you're saying. I got my buddy Rico. He's gonna pop up. I just want you to meet him brief, and you're gonna love him. You're gonna love Rico.
Hey, Rico.
Hey, how you doing?
It's an honor to meet you, sir. How are you?
Absolutely wonderful, and it's an honor to speak with you too as well. I have been listening to the podcast, and I want to say first and foremost, I'm really impressed with you, and I'm impressed because you debunk a lot of things that we deal with on a daily basis, and your information is relevant. For people that hold XRP, I'm bullish, stupid bullish. Of course, you hear bits and pieces of the things that you're saying, from time to time. They're not necessarily all that clear, but you have a profound way of making it clear to a lot of folks. And I want to say I'm in awe of and happy to know that you exist. Cryptogranny did an excellent job in letting us know who you were. And you should be like the XRP president right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Rico, it's a real honor to come and speak with your community. I mean, there's a lot of people that, hear a lot of weird things from their friends or people maybe that don't have the information. And, it's always an honor to come into anyone's group and really try to provide value. And there's so much to know. There's so much to learn. And, a lot of people, when they get into this space, they feel overwhelmed. And so I've been teaching every day for 4+ years. My mom was a teacher actually when she was a little younger, so I kind of I felt that, you know, and I just have a passion to really help educate people. And thank you so much for the kind words, man. And I hope we provided value today. But what are you bullish on, my friend? I'm always eager to know what other people, you know, kind of like me are looking at.
You know, actually, in the last few months, I've been noticing that there's a correlation between XDC and XRP. I agree with you. I think Stellar Lumens is going to do wonderful things in the future. However, their use case for what they're trying to create, I don't think it's done yet, where they're actually starting a trajectory towards that direction. But XDC and XRP are definitely making strong connections. And so I hold both tokens. XDC is my number one token. XRP is number two for me. So, you know, those are my top two tokens that I hold. And I'm seeing, you know, this whole thing with MLETR, TradeFi, the disruption. XDC is probably going to be maybe the first mover. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, I think the lawsuit with XRP slowed things down with XRP just for a moment. But, you know, it's a big thing what XRP and the partnerships and the connections are doing. So in the background, tell me a little bit, do you know anything about the SBI and the connection with XRP though?
Yeah, I know a few things about that. So you have Yoshitaka Kitao. Yoshitaka Kitao is the head chairman of SBI, you know, global SBI Remit, any SBI subsidiary. He's the man who's in control. And so he's a investor, early investor into Ripple, the company. He's an early investor into PolySign. He's an early investor into XRP. And he, you know, I've seen the comment of he saying that, you know, every bank in Japan is going to be using XRP into 2025. I've seen people say that's not accurate or debunked, but he is one of the biggest fans of XRP out there, and he has a lot of weight in the Japanese banking system. And so I think you're going to have Bank of Japan. I think, you know, I've seen some articles saying that Ripple is going to be working with Bank of Japan. I wouldn't be surprised because of how much influence that he has, but he's also bullish on XDC as well too. So when you have somebody out in front leading the charge for you know, Ripple, the company, and what they've built, I just think it's going to be massive. And I think you're absolutely right about XDC being the first mover. And you know what it is with XRP, guys, is the SEC cannot appeal that XRP is not a security or it is a security. They can't appeal that exact thing. So all they can do is try to appeal and try to save face and try to win some of the things that they've lost back, right? Programmatic sales and things like that. So you know, I do think you're right. You know, with you have what is the guy's name who runs the ITFA? God, I can't remember his name. You have just a massive amount of things of you know, NGO and things being built out on XDC, right? Digitizing trade documents and other things. I think you're right about XDC being a first mover. Do you think in November, when JP Morgan, Swift, and some of these other countries go live with ISO, do you think that'll affect the price of any of our assets?
You know, I was there at the XRP Las Vegas, and one of the things that they mentioned at XRP Las Vegas, for one, is that I agree with you. The retailer wasn't designed to move the price.
Yeah.
Okay. And they said that in order for the price to really appreciate the way that we substantially want it, not the midterm or the short term, but the real big numbers, is that it would take a lot of adoption to do that. So what we're waiting for is their use case, their disruption in market, and adoption to really get those big numbers. So, you know, that kind of debunks everybody's theory that, you know, XRP doesn't move, you know, for whatever reason. But, you know, you got to wait just a little bit for the good part. So I'm bullish on XRP. But I don't know. I think that that will be a milestone. I think it'll move the price a little. But once adoption sets in, the use case is solid, and it's being utilized. I think those are the times when we really want to see the price move. And you can almost expect that the price will move from that point on. So I think the price will move a little bit. But for those of us that are long-term holders, we know what we're waiting for.
Yeah.
And I don't want to predict that it's just going to be some kind of massive move,
Yeah.
uh, and we only get what we
Yeah.
get. We're in XRP early,
Yeah.
And since we're in there early, you got to let some time, let it brew, let it cook, and once it begins to go, you're not going to be able to stop it, and that's my personal opinion. So
Great points, man.
yeah. But like I said, I'm extremely bullish on XTC. Not that I'm trying to switch it up at all. I'm not. Like I said, I think XTC is going to be that first mover,
Yeah.
and then shortly thereafter, you're going to start seeing other altcoins, ISO coins, take off as well. Not to say that XTC is a front runner. I don't think that the price is going to be like XRP. I think if you can hold on and you don't get fudded out in the process, XRP is where it's at.
Yeah, and amazing points, man. And I really appreciate it. I think you need to hold both assets. And
Yeah.
I don't watch day-to-day price action because your emotions get involved, right? When it goes up, you're happy. When it goes down, you're sad. And like it's not time yet, guys. It really isn't time yet. We don't have Basel framework. We don't have global regulation. We have regulation in certain places of the world, and that's fantastic, and that's pushing adoption and things are building, but we're not there yet. And so, there is no good or bad time to buy XRP, right? You're buying XRP like you need to consider like you're holding a stock for a decade, right? You're buying this because you think this is going to go up over time. That is the mindset you need to have with certain assets, especially ones that are going to be used on a massive scale. I mean, because when you look at the BIS inviting Ripple, the company, I mean, you have Visa, you have MasterCard, right? Ripple has Visa and MasterCard partnerships, right? You look at Currency Cloud, you look at Earthport, right? Visa went out and bought a controlling share of those companies because they're Ripple partners, right? Visa and MasterCard want to be able to use the same system because they want to be able to say, hey, we're going to still charge you this 1 to 3%, but instead of us having to use the correspondent banking system, now we can use XRP and pay less than a penny a payment, and their revenue is going to grow substantially because now they don't have to have pre-funded accounts too, right? And a lot of people don't understand that pre-funded accounts are kind of a really big pain for a bank, especially if it's a big payment. You have to have that money locked up for 5-7 days, right? And if you're in a country that has a lot of fluctuation in the currency, man, that full payment might not get there. Then you have to send something up. So there's so many pain point and frictions in the cross-border payment system that Ripple does really solve. And when do you think the Ripple IPO? When do you think Ripple will IPO, and what impact on price of XRP? So the impact of the IPO really won't, I don't think, will affect the price of XRP too much. There might be a little bit of retail FOMO, but both things are disconnected. They're not the same thing, right? Because one is the stock and one is the Ripple, the company. I do think Ripple, the company stock, will do really nice returns over the next 5 to 10 years. But going back to what we're talking about with Ripple, when you have Visa, MasterCard, and they're partnered with American Express too, and then through Trangolo, Ripple owns 60% of a company called Trangolo. And Trangolo actually has connections into Alipay. So you can actually send money through Alipay through Trangolo and use XRP. So now you have UnionPay, which is actually bigger than Visa and MasterCard. Visa, MasterCard, Amex, look in your wallet. Look in your wallet right now. Look at all your credit cards. What is on them? Okay, so now you have all of these big conglomerates being able to use digital assets. When do you think they're going to start using them is the question. We don't know that. So, when people look at the chart of XRP and see 50 cents, don't get discouraged, right? No. Just zoom out, understand what you hold and how valuable it will be for the future. And when you truly get to the point of that research and that knowledge, like you and I have reached, you understand that this is going to take time, but when it hits, your life is going to be different on so many levels. And you should prepare that mindset, because once you do, let's say Ripple, excuse me, let's say XRP went to $1,000 tomorrow. And what are you going to do with your life then? So you want to do some mental and planning for the future, but you also need to understand that we're just at the start of something truly incredible. And if you miss this, forever you will look back and say, man, I had such a big opportunity in life, but I didn't want to take the extra hour out of my day to learn and to research. And if you like that 9-to-5 job that you hate, this is a good opportunity to be able to get out of that situation, right? And that's what we're all looking for. We're looking for financial freedom. And there's so many different ways to do it in the crypto space that, right now, if you just spend a little bit extra time, you can change your life forever. And think of how good that'll feel when the one day that does happen and you're right? All of your friends are looking at you like you're crazy. Your parents don't quite maybe understand what you're doing, but you in your heart know that this is special. And if you feel that already, you're already on the right track.
They say that you started losing money when you got a job in the first place because of time.
Yeah.
I have a few businesses, and time is probably the most important thing to me, because I'm always fighting for time to have to myself, or, to do my crypto thing. And any moment that I have free, that takes me away from making money. True, but which is more valuable, the time or the money? So I understand that. And when you hold these assets, I personally think there's a lot of reasons why we do that. It's not just to have them just increase in value. I so substantially that I'm a millionaire. I don't really, I think, dream about that, but I do dream about that time to get free.
Yeah.
And if I had a lump sum of money stored somewhere, then I would probably have a lot more time that's free.
Yeah.
And I think it's about planting a seed for tomorrow. Is probably the biggest goal and dream for me. That I actually do research so that I feel comfortable where I'm putting my money, so that they can grow over a period of time. And when I'm ready to hang this thing up, I have something. And crypto offers you the best return overall over a long period of time. And so I'm in XRP because I feel comfortable about placing my money in things that will grow over a period of time. And it's a relief that I'm actually investing outside of the matrix versus actually being trapped inside the matrix. So,
yeah, and a lot of people invest in stocks and things like that, and are you there for 60 to 100% returns, or do you like I don't have any money in the stock market. I bought in some Ripple IPO, but I don't have anything else in the stock market, right? And my bank account is not flush with money. A lot of it is in some of these assets because they are going to grow substantially over the next several years. And all I need to do is stabilize my life. Like my mortgage is paid, my car is paid, my insurance is paid. That's really what I need, right? And everything else goes into crypto, because I know that over the next 5 to 10 years, these assets are going to go do stupid numbers, and then you're going then you have all of this time. Then you can focus it on your family. You can focus it on the things that you want to do in life. That's really what we're trying to get to here, right? And I just don't think the stock market. I mean, gold. I think gold will be revalued, right? You have central banks buying gold at unseen levels for 50 or 60 years. BRICS are meeting on the 22nd to the 24th. You might get an announcement for a new gold-backed trading currency, right? BRICS New Development Bank, they're going to try to one day over the next couple of years, they're going to want to create a reserve currency. And I think that reserve currency could be backed up by digital assets. It's going to be backed up by different commodities like oil and silver. And that's another thing too, right? All of that value is going to be tokenized. Let's not forget oil. Let's not forget diamonds. Let's not forget gold, right? There's like 12 trillion.
I got a question for you, though, since we're on that topic. Do you think it's necessary for XRP to be backed up by gold?
It can't be backed up by gold. I just did a video on this. So I brought in Matt Hamilton, who was a senior developer on the XRP ledger with Ripple. and also David Schwartz, he's addressed this. And so it's very difficult to peg the price of XRP to kind of anything. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's not possible in a sense. And so I don't even think there's enough gold in the world to back up the XRP ledger once we actually get to where we're going here. So you can't back it up by silver or anything else. It's just not possible. And if you actually go onto Twitter and you research 10 things about XRP or 10 things to know about XRP, you're going to see David Schwartz's tweet where he actually addresses that directly. And so he's probably the smartest person on the planet when it comes to the XRP ledger. And I trust what he says.
All right, now let's go into conspiracy theory of XRP.
Let's do it.
Alex, for the next category, the red folder.
Oh man, it's hard to go on the side of XR, you know, the conspiracy side. There's a lot of channels that put out a lot of information, but the hardest part about watching some of those channels, man, is they always have the dates, right? They always try to take certain things that are said and put it into certain dates, like this is going to happen, right? You have Mr. Pool, you have the bearable guy or whatever. I can't remember his bearable. Yeah. So. Yeah. I don't have too much to say on the conspiracy side, man. I try to stay on the actual fact side, and because like there's so much information out there, and a lot of it's not. What is your position on the red folder?
I'm kind of 50%. I met Jimmy. I always mess up the last name, Valhill or whatever.
Yeah, Jimmy Valley from Valhill Capital.
Yes. I met him at along with a couple of my other friends that are some of them are in this. It's too Graham Glam Echo. We were all there at XRP Las Vegas, and I grilled him. I grilled him. I was at the dinner table with him, and I grilled him because at the time I had been influenced by other people that are respecting the space, and they were just totally just like So I talked to him. And I didn't even know at that time he was an attorney and that he had previous experience with getting damages for people that were in this same situation. And he deflated me in such a way that I became calm. I wasn't hostile when asking the questions. I actually... he kind of just lullabied me to a rest. And I began to do some more research about him. And then also, too...
we lost Rico. We lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, somebody was trying to call me, but I hit the button on him. Another good friend of mine, Graham Glam, Brooke, actually started telling me about him. And so I'm a 50%er when it comes to that red folder. I do believe that because of the lawsuit, the SEC didn't prove that their case that XRP was a security. I do believe it did hurt investors. Could there be damages for those long-term holders of XRP? Yeah. I think it should because the price did deflate. And we missed a bull run based on being holders. So, if they were able to prove their case, which they didn't, then, naturally it would go in the SEC's favor, but it didn't. So I'm a 50%er on that. As forth as these absorbent amounts of what XRP could be worth, I think that's up for debate. If I was in his shoes, I wouldn't want it to be $5, for all the trouble. It might be $100. It might be $1,000. I don't know what that number is. That's for those people to figure that out. So I'm a 50%er.
So and we need to let's address this because we haven't addressed it yet. So people need to understand that the SEC is just one government agency in the United States, right? Ripple has been working with the US government for like 7 or 8 years, right? And FinCEN has already called it a currency. Actually, the SEC called XRP a currency when Coinbase went to the SEC and said, hey, we want to list XRP on our platform. Is it a security? At the time, they said no. And then you had Joseph Lubin and you have Vitalik Buterin give $15 million, right, to William Hinman to give not only Ethereum a free pass, but it was very interesting that Bill Hinman left the SEC, but then was there the next few days to kind of push this lawsuit onto Ripple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why isn't that being investigated? You have clear knowledge that this government official took money, made up all of these things to give Ethereum a free pass, worked with Joseph Lubin, lied under oath. Why is that not being investigated? And I wanted to see if it correlates with the lawsuit for Ripple, right? Because really a lawsuit out on the last day in office when you're getting this pressure from Bill Hinman, I want to know what happened there, right? So
I do too.
I've actually tweeted out to all of the financial committee, and you know, I often send tweets to them, not like anybody my tweets, but you know, there needs to be an investigation. We need to find out if this was driven by greed, and if in fact was, don't you think we should be made whole and these parties should be brought to justice? I just think that nothing is happening with that, and I think that the Congress does not want to investigate corruption at the SEC, but they really need to, because it was corrupt, and we all have the facts now, and let's be honest, there was corruption, and why is it not being addressed?
Hey, you know, the last time I
so with that said,
Granny, let me say this. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. The last time I checked,
yeah, Rico, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm sorry. The last time I checked, and I did, and I made a mistake. I lost my job, right? I got fired at my job. I did. I've only had 3 jobs, and I've been self-employed my whole life. But I've had 3 jobs, and I messed up at my job, and I got fired. The guy that fired me married my mother, by the way. Anyway,
I'm sure that was fun.
You know, here we have a pattern of things with the SEC. Gary Gensler being at the helm. He officiated this lawsuit. He didn't start it. He officiated it, and then he lost the major part of the lawsuit. And so, you know, at the government level, it must take an eternity to lose a job, because, you know, we see that they've offered to restructure the SEC based upon, you know, the facts of this case, but yet he's still there. He's done
a terrible job. I mean, he's asking for more money. I mean, he was meeting with Sam Bankman as Sam Bankman was scamming the world. 3 Arrow Capital, Terra Luna, Celsius. He didn't stop any of it, right?
No.
So why would us, the taxpayers, why would we want to give him more money? He's laughable on the stage, and you don't have any of these, you know, squawk box. Nobody's asking him hard questions. It's all soft garbage. And you pay attention to the real news, you're gonna miss everything, because they have no idea what they're dealing with, right? You had JP Morgan calling Bitcoin a scam in 2020, right? Now they have the Onyx blockchain, and you know, putting out ads about the whole world's going to be tokenized, right? So if you listen to mainstream media, you're always going to be years behind what's actually happening globally, right? And there's so much information to know, but you really, if you put in the time, and as you know, Rico, if you put in the time, crypto can change your life for the good, right? And it can put you in a position where you can make better decisions, and you don't have to report to that job that you don't like, or you don't have to be on somebody else's time frame. And then you actually have the time to build whatever you want in life, right? My goal is to eventually be a VC venture capitalist platform that I invest into certain crypto assets. I kind of almost do some of that now, but I need the bag, right? I need the bag of cash so I can do that. So you know, I think people, especially if you're listening to this today and not, you know, 5 years from now, if you have so much time in front of you to really start learning, and if you put in just a little bit of time, you know, you can change your life forever. And I just want to get that point across, because I've done that. I've put in the time, and I've changed my life forever. And I'll never go back to what I was doing before, because this is such an incredible space, and everybody, new stuff is being built every day. And it's just so much fun to learn, man. What do you think?
I keep the current Cryptogranny, Bobby Bob. She provides an excellent platform for people to learn about crypto, and I've struck up a great friendship with her, as well as Crypto Chick, Echo, Graham Glam, several people, and I can keep going on and on. The wonderful thing is, although the world is big, the crypto community is small. And what I feel great about is just being a positive aspect. I never became the hater or the person that was on the negative side of things. Actually, I wanted to find the greatness or the greater part of everything that crypto had to offer. And I've started that journey, and now I meet, miss you, and I meet people all the time. Hey, the reality is that this thing is going to shock and rock the world.
Yeah.
We've seen what happened with the internet. A lot of the FUD that's coming out now about crypto happened in the internet portion of time. You got to know what you hold. You have to do your research. You can't listen to the BlackRocks, the JP Morgans, because if you do, they're going to influence you to come in after they've already got their structure, their crap together.
Yep.
And that's you're too late then. You're too late because the price evaluation is going to be high, and you're going to be looking for some exit liquidity. So, somebody's got to buy it at that high price. It'll be slow motion at that time.
It will. And we'll be there before you know it, right? Because we are very close, guys. Like, I know a lot of people think, hey, it's going to be another 5-10 years of waiting. It really isn't, right? Mm-hmm. When you have Swift going live, in this year, really, like, what's going to happen, right? Because it goes back to once one or two banks start using it, it puts every other bank at a disadvantage. So they're all going to start using this at the same time. And so if a bank is going to be using something like XRP to move value, are they going to want to custody that asset themselves because they know it might go up in value, right? Because they're the ones who've been testing this stuff for 10 years, right? Bank of America knows, right? Bank of America has already come out and said they're going to be using XRP and working with Ripple, right? Because they know how powerful it is to save. I mean, you're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars a year in savings just by using this new technology. So,
and you think Swift is supposed to do their thing in November?
Yeah. So CPBR.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was going to make another connection for you then.
Go for it, really?
It's interesting that Swift is going on in November, and XRP is adding smart contracts in November too, as well with hooks. That's going to be.
Do you know about
tokenization?
Do you know about Evernote too?
Yes.
You know what Evernote's doing? So hooks is smart. So what hooks is smart contract functionality for the XRP ledger, but it's not Ethereum level. Evernote will bring Ethereum level smart contracts to the XRP ledger, and that is really going to help create new use cases for the XRP token entire ecosystem. Why would you use Ethereum at that point if you have the same functionality on XRP as Ethereum? And Ethereum is, because I did a transaction the other day, it was like $11, right? That is not a platform that is going to level the playing field in a lot of these countries, right? So they're going to choose XRP because, right, it's so cheap to use and it's so quick, right? So you're going to have options, right? When you go to send like a central bank money, or you're going to go send money, you're going to get like 3 or 4 options on your phone or whatever device that you're using, right? You're going to pick the cheapest way and the quickest way to get that money there all the time. And if you have, a penny or 2 pennies, and then you have, $1, you're always going to choose the cheapest path. That is why Ripple was invited to this new BIS task force. And that's why you don't see Stellar on there. You don't see HBAR on there, right? They know how important the technology is. And then when you hear someone like Augustin Carlson, who is the head of the BIS, and you hear Christina Georgieva, who is the head of the IMF now, when you hear them talking about a unified ledger, what do you think they're referring to here, right? It's not Stellar that's working with 30 plus central banks. It's not Quant is also going to be used in this ecosystem. Quant is actually my 4th token on my top 5. I think Quant Quan is going to be a $10,000 token before you know it. Has a lower market cap. I mean, excuse me, has a lower supply than Bitcoin with 14 million and some change, and it has all of the use cases. So I think Quan is going to be a heavy player in this space too. But when they talk about a unified ledger, guys, and Ripple's the only blockchain infrastructure and a company that's invited to that task force, you need to make those connections in your head. You really do. You really need to.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here. And I'm thankful that I met you.
Thank you,
Cryptogranny,
Rico. I just wanted you to meet your newest brother.
This man has done made me bullish. You were right. He is the truth. And I mean, how do you, wait? First and foremost, I'm going to ask a simple question because how do you keep meeting all these gems? Because he's a gem. I mean, what do you send
my
out
research,
report,
brother?
Yeah, I know you send out a report or something. Because man, you bring the heat, and the heat comes to you.
He was I'm not gonna give you the secrets, but he was hooked up with someone that's hooked up. You know, when you really know somebody that knows somebody, you reach out and you make the contacts. And I'll tell you, when I reached out, it took not even a day. He hit me back, and great guy.
Well, I'm glad that you brought him and exposed us to him because, like I said, I am straight bullish even more. And I learned something. He schooled me. And we talk about this every day. So I'm just thankful. Hopefully you come to the community, brother, and drop some gems on us from time to time. Do you get on TikTok, or are you particularly on YouTube?
I've just now created TikTok. I think I have like 12 followers, but we've been posting because I make so much content. I in the last like 28 days, I think I've recorded like 60 something videos for my YouTube. And so we're taking clips out of some of the videos for YouTube. I need to make some custom content for YouTube, but I mean for TikTok, but I have been, and I've been invited to this lovely community. I'm going to spend some more time there. And I didn't get like this overnight, right? This took years of dedication, hard work.
Yes.
I research 6 to 7 days a week, guys. I really don't have a set day off. I've taken one vacation the last 4 years, and every day I've been researching. Even on vacation, I was researching crypto. So it's a long journey, and it doesn't happen overnight. But you want to follow people that you trust. You want to follow people that actually bring you the facts and the information. You don't want to follow people that give you promises without providing what the actual information is. And that's what I try to do. And it's been just honored to be here with you guys and to be able to express my opinions and my information on XRP and the crypto space. And let me know if you ever want to do this again. It's just been real nice speaking with everybody and answering everybody's questions. And please, if there's ever anything else that anyone needs, let me know. I'll be here in a jiffy.
All right. Well, thank you, Crypto Sensei. It's absolutely been wonderful meeting you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bobby. I really appreciate your time, and I just want to thank the community that
thank you, Rico. I'll see you later, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, everybody, have a blessed day.
See ya. Hey, Bobby, I just wanted to thank you for your time, and I wanted to thank everybody who's spent the time watching this. And if there's any question that you have, or if you ever need help, I'm a Twitter DM away, or if you're on Discord in my community, just send me a DM. I'd be happy to answer any question that you have. I answer every single one of my YouTube comments. So the community is very important to me, and we're all at different stages of learning. And this is just such a great space with so many wonderful people. So thank you, Bobby, from the bottom of my heart. And I think, is that your husband who's behind the scenes doing all the magic? I want to thank him too for all the things that he's done.
Well, thank you. And I'm gonna tell you, we got 85 people on TikTok on a Sunday, which is great. I think you got a new bunch of community members, a new family here. And I'm going to share all your handles, all my TikTok, so they can reach out to you. He's on Twitter. He's on YouTube. And we need to build his TikTok because he don't do TikTok, but he will. Let's get him to 1,000.
Thank you, Bobby.
We'll definitely stay in this circle. Thank you so much. And I have one last question. Everybody's saying thank you from Brooke. The whole community loves you. But one good question that stood out, and it's just a speculative question. And that question was, which crypto, and this is how we're going to close. And I'm really grateful. Again, I can't tell you how much. Which crypto do you speculate will be used for X?
Yeah, that's a great question. So
Twitter.
it goes back to so Twitter's going to have a lot of microtransactions, guys. So they're going to have a lot of 50 cent, 40 cent transactions. And when you're having transactions like that, and they're all over the globe, right? Because Twitter is a global business. You have to start thinking, well, what can facilitate that, right? So Ripple has control of about 90 to 95% of the FX market. That means they cover pretty much 90 to 95% of the globe. You look at that, it's not going to be Dogecoin. Dogecoin is not a payment token. I would be shocked if somehow they were able to create Dogecoin into a payments token. Remember, it was still a meme. So I think XRP is at the top of the list. There is something that kind of fluctuates that Ripple and Amazon were doing some work and testing like 3 years ago. There hasn't been real updated information on that. But at the end of the day, Amazon's a business. They're going to choose the easiest, quickest, fastest, and most secure path for their payment platform. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is Ripple and XRP. You've seen some stuff with backlinks going back like 10 years that, that Twitter was considering something like this. And I think it's definitely it has to be some type of ISO compliant token, remember, because this is going to be cross-border payments. So what fits the bill? That's the question you need to ask. And then if you start researching that backwards, you can really see that there's only a certain amount of tokens that could facilitate that. So I would say it's Hedera, it's XRP, it's XLM, and possibly XDC. But I would say it's going to be one of those four, and I'm leaning more towards the XRP or the XLM for that.
Sounds wonderful. And before we wrap, we have Crypto Heirs. It's your business.
Crypto Heirs. Yep. Thank you.
And you can give me all that information, DM me all that. But just briefly explain to everyone what it is and what they can get there. It's merchandise or something.
No. So Cryptonaires is my information community. It's where, so every week I do 2 chats a week. They go about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And in those chats, I bring forth 80 to 100 and maybe 110, 120 pieces of crypto news from globally from around the world. And it's a lot of, ISO compliant stuff, XRPs, XDCs, XLMs. But I also have a team that provides information on newer crypto assets and trades and different stuff. I can't tell you how many, like we've had maybe 30 or 40, 100% gain cryptos that our team has called over the last 3 months. So we also have a partnership with Carolina Keith's TA Discord. So if you sign up for Cryptonaires, I think it's like $50 a month, you get membership to our Discord community. You also get membership to Carolina Keith's TA Discord community. So you actually get it's like $15 to join his community. So you get 2 communities for the price of 1. And it really does help you not only find new gems that are coming on the crypto space, but it also keeps you up to date with everything that you need to know crypto globally. I can tell you the people that show up to every one of my chats know more about the crypto space than 99.999% of the planet. So if you want to stay up to date, if you really want to know what's happening in real time with crypto globally, I also do like some geopolitics. I mean, there's so much stuff that goes into all of this. It kind of is the crypto community. That's the good place to learn. That is where I'm giving you all the information. If you don't want to spend some money and you want to still learn, you can join my. You can go with either. I created a new Telegram that we're going to be kind of rolling out. That's going to be free. We also have YouTube, which I provide anywhere from 5 to 6 videos a week on different cryptos. Mainly XRP and Ripple and some other stuff. But those are the best places to find me, as well as I've been posting some new stuff on TikTok. But if you ever need any help, I'm also on Twitter as well. So I mean, I'm trying to be in all places at once, but the community is really where the education kind of takes off. That's the older website that you're kind of showing there. I can give you the website for the new link for the new website. We just redesigned a new Shopify page, and I'm going to post that here in the chat. But if you have any questions, let me know, guys, because everything is a learning experience. That's our new site, cryptonaires.myshopify.com. So that's the older one. And so the new website's up. Please take a look. If you have any questions, I'm here. I'd love to provide you with any answer. Even if you're not a paid member, if you have a question, send me a DM and I will get back to you, because you're important to me. I know that I might not know you, but people have questions, and we're all people. We're all trying to learn. We're all trying to grow. And I'm going to be here and, trying to be a pillar of the community and trying to uplift everybody to the best the way I can. So thank you so much for having me, Bobby. And it's been a real honor. Did I lose Bobby? Paging Bobby. I've lost Bobby. No. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for having me. I think she'll probably reconnect here in a second. Yes, thank you, John. I appreciate you sharing my Twitter, man. Thank you very much. I think she's trying to reconnect. There she is. Hey, Bobby.
I don't know what happened. This is live YouTube,
You're all
right?
good. You're all good.
Thank you.
Things
I appreciate you. Like I said, I can't tell you how much the whole community already grasped to you with open arms. And thank you so much. Have a blessed one. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, everybody,